do that, they have this whole session. And based on how quick they are, how good of a lap time they set within their class, that is their position. And that then awards them the corresponding amount of points. Now the final is more of the same, but there's just more points at stake here. So, those of you wondering why this is called qualifying, it isn't qualifying in the traditional sense. Back in the day of early time attacks, only the fastest drivers would go through qualifying for points. That's how it used to work. So only the fastest drivers would go through to the final, and the slower drivers would be excluded from the final. So it's a very traditional qualifying where you qualified for the next round. That isn't the case anymore, but the name has remained. But qualifying is still important because, as I mentioned, your finishing position on the leaderboard in qualifying does still award you a small amount of points. The big points come in the final, where again, depending on how fast you can go within your class, that determines your position and that determines your points. So it's very much like like a time trial, or like a rally or a hill climb, or like a qualifying essentially in say Formula One, where the faster your time that you're able to achieve, the better your result. So that's that. I had another question, and perhaps it's something we should talk about very briefly. Where I tend to focus on this quite a lot, but perhaps I haven't done so today. Where some of you may be wondering why these cars have flashing red lights on the back. They look like rain lights that you might see in single seaters, but here they have quite a different role. Sorry, my voice is still going, so I'm just taking little breaks after this. So basically, when you build a road car into a competition car, really anything other than a purpose-built endurance racing machine won't be able to do lap after lap after lap after lap after lap of hot laps for 20 minutes, an hour, whatever it is. Most cars will need to do a few hot laps, and then your tires start to get too hot, your brakes start to get too hot. And so, your various fluids, whatever it is. So you then need to cool your car down. And likewise, that gives the driver a chance to kind of gather their thoughts and prepare for the next attack. So what you see is cars do a sequence of hot laps, and then a sequence of cool laps, and then a sequence of hot laps, and so on. Now the difference between a hot lap and a cool down lap is very significant. So you have some cars that are moving quite slowly, and other cars that are very much on the attack. And to help them manage this traffic and see what's coming up ahead, because when you're moving fast, it's important to know what's ahead of you from way back, because you'll catch them quickly. The car has its headlights on, so you'll see cars, so you can just see who is that now. Eden Young coming up the mountain in the Howtech Gibbs Fab Civic. His headlights are on, which mean that he is on a hot lap. And when cars are not on a hot lap, firstly, the headlights are on. And secondly, they have this flashing red light on the back of their car. Big burst of flames there from Jimmy Broadbent at X5 as he gives himself that comfort lift. He backs off the gas a little bit, coming from turn 1 up the hill to Buckets. Anyway, when the driver's on a cool down lap, then they switch on that rear flashing light to signal that to everyone around that they are ready. We're all gentlemen and ladies here. We're very sporty people. So we want to signal our intent to the other drivers around us, to the marshals. So when your cool down light is on, you're signaling that you're going to yield track position, you're not going to impede anyone who is on a hot lap. And so this etiquette between the drivers and being able to manage your track position and manage the traffic, this is really key to the challenge of driving a time attack, because I mentioned sprinting, I mentioned the hill climb, rallying, and yes, you're competing against the clock, but you're doing so in isolation, it's just you on the track at that of whom are on hot lap, half of whom are on cool down lap, and it's all a bit of a mishmash of different classes and everything. So this traffic situation is a key thing for you to consider as a driver, is not only trying to set that one perfect lap as quickly as you can, you're trying to do so in the midst of a jumble of cars who are doing all kinds of different things, and all kinds of different abilities, and all kinds of different things. So that's what that flashing red light means. You're telling people that you're taking it easy this time, you're cooling things down, and you're watching your mirrors and yielding position, yielding the racing line to anybody who is on a hot lap. They signal that they are doing that by switching on their headlights to make themselves more visible to those ahead of them. So I hope that explains what this means and what's going on. And so we saw some interesting stories develop throughout the morning's running, which again was only warm-up, it was own practice, it didn't really count for anything competitive. So much so that if you were to set a lap record during those sessions, an unofficial lap record, that wouldn't get logged anywhere because those sessions aren't classified for not competitive sessions. The sessions that count and the sessions that score points are these ones. This session now, and then later in the afternoon, the time attack final as well. So, that being said, let's see what's going on here. So the fastest car that we have on track right now is the number 119 car, the Renault Clio of Mike Taylor, of Team Custom Production, who's been very quick all morning and remains so right now. And of course, throughout the morning I've been saying, look, take these times with a pinch of salt, don't read too much into these times. They don't really mean very much because it's only practice and it's only warm-up. Now is when we can really start getting excited about these lap times because the drivers are finally pushing, the drivers are finally delivering maximum of their potential that they're able to. So this is when they start to score points for the championship. So, we have a Mike Taylor leading the way overall, and also leading within his class on the rocket. Then we have Andrew Moore in the Mini Challenge 210, and then you can just see him weaving around and up into the mountain. His lights switched on, and by now we all know what that means. He is currently leading in Clubman, and if memory serves me well, he is the reigning Clubman champion, and he is looking to defend his title this season, of course, as well. And actually, so turn one here is very unique coming into Compass at Cadwell Park, because typically turn one tends to be a big braking zone on most circuits. You have the big straight, and then you come into turn one, where there's a big braking zone and lots of rotating happens. At Cadwell Park is a little bit different, where turn one is uphill and on ramp, and it's quite a fast corner. We just saw Eden Young going up turn one in the Haltech his Fab Civic, and you could just hear he didn't even lift coming into turn one. He lifted a little bit further up into the hill, just to adjust his line a little bit. But if your car is, if you're carrying loads of speed into turn one, then maybe you need to do yourself a little comfort lift, just back off the gas a tiny bit, or just touch the brakes ever so slightly to scrub off a little bit of speed. But you can really attack turn one here like at no other circuit. And you can carry so much speed into there, in some cases not even lift. And that gravity will slow you down as you go up the hill. So it's a very unique challenge, and Cadwell Park is very much, I know we discussed this a lot today, it's kind of like a hill climb venue almost, like a super wide hill climb, because it's so hilly, and it's so twisty, and it presents a very unique challenge. It's a really driving favorite, and for those of you, I know we have lots of track day warriors here at Modified Live, and if you haven't yet done a track day at Cadwell Park, I would recommend it so much. I've driven most of the circuits in the UK. This is by far my favorite one, and you don't even need particularly fast machinery. You know, you take something like a stock MX-5 and you're not going to have particularly great great time sitting on those big wide straights. It's just a bit boring. Whereas Cadwell Park just comes at you, punch, 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 corner, 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 corner. It's just so full on. Great circuit drive, and a real favorite amongst our drivers too. Meanwhile, Martin Garlick in the wonderfully named Fluffy, was it Fluffy Head Motorsport? Let me just double check this. Fluffy Head, Fluffy Hair. Something like that. Fluffy Head Motorsport, there we go. So Martin Garlick in the Fluffy Head Motorsport machine just sets a personal best lap, 1:43.9. And also Michael Birch in the Cadwell machine sets a personal best of 1:50.8. And then goes into the paddock actually. So his personal best was an out lap and then an in lap. So we haven't really seen anything great from Michael Birch this time around, which is interesting. Because he's been very quick throughout the morning. And right up there in the pocket rocket, fine. But now in qualifying, now when it comes, it seems like they've not able to deliver the lap time as it was earlier today. I don't know whether there are any issues with the car. And there goes Martin Garlick then. Let's see whether he approves. He does not. So that was a cool down lap from him. 11 seconds off his personal best so far. So you just check that lap there. Slow things down a little bit. You can see on the timing screen that he was slower in every sector. So he's just cooling off his tires, cooling off his brakes, trying to find a little bit of space on the track, clearing his mind in preparation perhaps for one final attack as we head into the final minute of this session. And for those of you following from the sidelines, whether you're in the paddock or sitting on the hill, you can access the same timing data that I have on your phone, laptop, tablet, whatever you have. If you go into your search engine of choice and you type in Timing Solutions Limited, TSL, Timing Solutions Limited, and then you can open up the web app which shows you all the same timing data, sector times, cars, everything, right in the palm of your hand. And if you're trying to follow a particular driver, then that's very useful because, I only have one mouth and half a brain, so I can only cover so much. If you're here to follow a particular driver and I haven't given them the airtime that you need to hear that update, then by all means please have a look at the TSL timing web app and you can have all that data at your fingertips. So interesting then, so a few of our top competitors are not setting particularly scorching lap times. So it looks like a bit of a battle of attrition for a lot of our drivers here. That being said, the fastest then was Mike Taylor in that Renault Clio with a 1:39.2. Then Andrew Hawes, fastest in Clubman with a 1:39.4. And then we have Lewis Noon. Then we have Shaw, Mills, Blanketsop at 6th, Martin Garlick, Broadbent, Young, Hume, James, Birch in 12th, Michael Birch there. Andy York, Ackerley, Hopwell in 15th with a 1:56.